That is right, the Champions League final is finally here. Now we know that Borussia Dortmund and also Madrid will face each other in the final. So let's speak more about Borussia Dortmund. So let's now walk through Dortmund's journey into the final. Now Dortmund were placed in the group of death with the likes of PSG, AC Milan, also Newcastle. Personally, I did not think that Dortmund would get out of this group. Not only did they get out, but they also topped the group with only one loss as well. Now their first matchup versus PSG in match day 1 did not go too well, as they did manage to lose 2-0 to PSG, and Mbappe scoring a penalty in that match and Hakimi scoring to secure the win for PSG as well. Now into the Champions League match day 2. Now Dortmund faced AC Milan. Now me personally, I thought Milan would win this match, but it ended in a 0-0 draw. And then we moved into match day 3, and I believe this is where Dortmund started to get their results and shift into another gear. And the goal in this match came from Schlotterbeck, cutting it back to Mecha for a beautiful first time shot to make it 1-0, and that secured Dortmund a 1-0 win. And into match day 4, where Dortmund faced Newcastle once again for the second time. Well, they got one more goal this time compared to last time, and they won 2-0 in this match. And the goal scorers being Füllkrug and Julian Brandt, two players who have absolutely balled out for the club this season. And in match day 5, they actually started cooking, and they were facing AC Milan again, where they managed to get a 3-1 win versus AC Milan. And at this point, they were confirmed through to the round of 16, but they had one more match, and that was versus PSG, which ended 1-1. Moving into the round of 16, Dortmund were going to face PSV in this round, which honestly I think was a fairly good matchup, as PSV won the Eredivisie, so they were kind of a underrated side as well. In the first leg, Dortmund did not do too well, as that game ended 1-1 with goals from Malin and a penalty from Luke de Jong. So let's move into the second leg, where Dortmund really turned up, winning 2-0 with a goal from Sancho in the 3rd minute and Marco Reus sealing the result in the 95th minute. And this put them through to the quarterfinals, where they were faced against Atletico Madrid. And I mean, I honestly thought in this matchup that Atletico Madrid would score quite a few past Dortmund, but it looks like I was wrong, because in this first leg of the quarterfinal match, De Paul started the scoring early on, and then Samuel Lino putting them up 2-0 before Haller scored in the 81st minute, but that game ended 2-1 in Atletico's favor. Moving into the second leg, Dortmund needed to score 2 goals or more to make it through to the semi-finals, and I mean, that is exactly what they did. Dortmund came out and won that game 4-2, which put them through by just 1 goal, and Hummels scoring a own goal. And that is where myself and even most people thought it was over for Dortmund, but Füllkrug scored a header to make it 4-4 on aggregate, and then Sabitzer scoring with a mid-range shot going into the bottom right corner, which sealed the 5-4 win on aggregate for Dortmund. Incredible, they made a great comeback, and I think fully deserved they did it. And in the semi-finals, Borussia Dortmund faced PSG, a team they faced in the group and failed to get 3 points against. But in the semi-final, it was completely different. Füllkrug absolutely launched the ball with power into the net, winning that game 1-0 for Dortmund. And into the second leg, where PSG had to come out and score more goals. They had to make it through to the next round and win the game as well by 2 or 3 goals. And that second leg, PSG came out attacking. I don't know, they just kept hitting the woodwork around 6 times or so, so it was very unlucky for them. But Dortmund got a corner and they whipped it in, and Hummels got his head on it and put Dortmund up 1-0 in that match, and they ended up winning that match 1-0, and they won 2-0 on aggregate. And PSG were so unlucky in both those games, but Dortmund managed to come through with 2 goals and a clean sheet in both games, which sent them to the Champions League final. In that final, they will be facing Real Madrid, and that is going to be a rough match for them. So let's speak about Real Madrid. They got to the Champions League final, and Real Madrid were placed in a pretty easy group for them. Honestly, the first game on match they won. Real Madrid just got 3 points thanks to Bellingham scoring late into the game, winning it, and then they just plowed through the group like the powerhouse they are in the Champions League. They won match day 2 where they beat Napoli 3-2 with a solid win. Then they went into match day 3 with the game versus Braga, where realistically they should win it easily, and they did with a 2-0 win against Braga. They played Braga again in match day 4 and once again slapped them 3-0, getting a comfortable result. Now moving into match day 5, they were faced against Napoli again, and they got a 4-2 win versus them. Match day 6, Real Madrid beat Union Berlin 3-2, which means they went unbeaten throughout the whole group. Like, very impressive. In the round of 16, Real Madrid were up against a pretty good Leipzig team, but in the first leg against Leipzig, Brahim Diaz came up clutch with a banger outside the box to win the game with a single goal. He won them the game 1-0 for Real Madrid, and this goal was huge because in the second leg, Real Madrid drew 1-1 against Leipzig, so they went through 2-1 on aggregate. And moving into the quarterfinals, Real Madrid were coming up against a familiar face in the Champions League and the reigning champions of the competition, Manchester City. And in the first leg, we had goals galore, where the game ended 3-3 with amazing goals from Bernardo Silva, Foden, and also Gvardiol. And I gotta say though, what a banger from Valverde, what a volley for him to seal the draw for Real Madrid. And the second leg once again was a rough one for both sides, and this match ended 1-1 with goals from Rodrigo and De Bruyne late on, but this meant that they had to face each other again on penalties. The winner had to be decided on penalties. Bernardo Silva had a awful penalty saved by Lunin, and Kovacic, his pen was saved as well. And then Rudiger stepped up to the spot. He had to score this to win the game, and he did exactly that, which put them through to the semi-finals. And in the semi-finals, Real Madrid had to face Bayern Munich. This matchup was bound to be an exciting one. In the first leg, Bayern Munich were actually dominating Madrid, but a mistake from Kim Min-jae cost them, which led them to concede. Leroy Sané had a goal that brought back memories of vintage Ian Robin cutting inside and banging in near post. And Harry Kane scored a penalty, but Vinny had a brace in this game. He's been turning up in the knockout stages. Huge player in the knockout stages. And moving on to the second leg, this was another great one. Fondy started the goal scoring with a beautiful right-footed shot into the top corner. That is my Canadian GOAT right there. But despite that, we all know how good Real Madrid are in the Champions League. And Osulu came on as a sub, and then he scored in the 88th minute to tie the game, and then he went on to score the winner in the 91st minute. Like, wow, a single sub scoring 2 goals. What? It's incredible. It's Real Madrid. What can you say? And this put Real Madrid through 4-3 on aggregate. They booked themselves yet another place in the Champions League final. And this final is going to be so good. We have a underrated team in Dortmund that no one expected to be in the final against a European giant who could possibly win their 15th Champions League title. And this final, I'm very excited for it. This will be both Marco Reus's and also Toni Kroos's last ever games for their clubs. Pretty crazy, but both of them have been absolutely amazing for their clubs. Marco Reus has been pretty unlucky in terms of winning trophies with club and country. Honestly, I want Dortmund to win this final, which means I'm gonna go for a 2-1 win for Dortmund. Well, thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you did enjoy the video. Let me know in the comments down below your predictions for this Champions League final. Who do you think's gonna win? Let me know your score prediction as well, and the goal scorers, and don't forget to subscribe as well. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.